Archangel Michael says, "You have been distracted, and he has been trying to reach you. This window is small. Open your heart and listen now. My child, there is a reason this moment found you, and it is gentler than you think. You have not been ignoring anything, you have simply been carrying too much, trying to make meaning while your heart was still healing. You thought you were missing answers, but you were really waiting for a quiet moment to finally hear what has been trying to reach you. Stay with me, because soon you will understand why this message arrives now, and why it would not have landed earlier. You have walked through seasons where your mind felt full, where every thought overlapped the next, and where you tried to listen but noise drowned the subtle guiding whispers. My beloved child, not every silence is abandonment. Sometimes the silence becomes a shelter so something within you can settle, so your breath can deepen, so clarity can rise from stillness rather than urgency. You were not late, you were being readied. For a while you have felt a slight tension, a sense of something is shifting, yet without language for it. It wasn't that you were not listening, it was that you expected the guidance to sound louder than it needed to be. But the messages woven around you were subtle, threaded through small pauses, through moments when you almost cried from relief even though nothing visible had changed yet. These gentle touches were signs in miniature form, preparing you for something stronger. If you look back, you will notice the little alignments, the message that appeared twice, the conversation that felt oddly precise, the moment someone used the exact word you had been thinking. These were not coincidences. They were leading threads, forming patterns you could only interpret once you slowed down. Soon you will see that what felt like waiting was actually being positioned. There is something that wants to unfold with tenderness rather than pressure. The call is not demanding, it is welcoming. It does not force you forward, it invites you upward. Even now, you may feel a slight warmth across your chest, a soft pull that whispers, "Pay attention," from peace, not fear. That feeling is evidence that you are not too late, you are not behind, and what belongs to you has not been taken. This moment is not about urgency, it is about alignment. You are hearing this now because your spirit is quieter than it once was, and clarity has space to land. Listen gently, because what comes next will not rush you. A soft unfolding awaits, and you will soon recognize it not by pressure, but by a deep internal yes rising within you. Take a slow breath now, even before you fully understand why it matters, and let it pass through you like a gentle wave returning to shore. Allow your shoulders to loosen, not by effort, but by permission, as if the weight that rested there no longer needs to hold itself upright. You have carried so much in that upper space of your body, and your jaw has clenched more than you realized, yet you do not need to tighten against life anymore. Let the breath settle low, let the ribs widen, let your chest soften in its own timing, and feel a quiet shift within you. When the mind is scattered, you hear noise more easily than guidance. When the breath is shallow, your heart sends quiet signals that cannot fully land. But when you breathe slowly, a doorway opens inside you, and awareness begins to shape itself with clarity instead of resistance. Stay with this stillness, even if it feels unfamiliar, because this is how quiet becomes a teacher rather than an absence. Feel the back of your neck lengthen. Notice how your shoulders drift downward, as though they are remembering their original placement. Imagine a soft line crossing the center of your chest, reminding you that you are allowed to rest here, not because everything is solved, but because peace does not require resolution to begin. This gentle posture is an inner prayer without words. You have rushed through days where the calendar dictated the pace, and you tried to move faster than your peace could keep up. Yet alignment never asks you to force what is not ready. Breath slows time. Breath resets the inner clock. Breath brings you back from a scattered mind into a field where listening is easier. Take another breath, not dramatic, not heavy, but natural. Let the inhale widen you, and let the exhale return you. As the shoulders soften, your heart becomes more reachable. The messages that felt distant begin to rise again, not in urgency, but as reassurance. A quiet awareness forms like dew before sunlight touches it. Sense the warm spaces behind your ribs, as if something luminous sits there. Notice the subtle loosening in your jaw when you choose to unclench. Peace travels through places that were once guarded. When you relax the physical gate, the emotional gate follows, and you begin hearing what was always speaking. Stay with this stillness. Let it cradle you. Let it sharpen your inner clarity. You are not falling behind, you are arriving into alignment. Listening happens best when you are not trying. Breathing creates space that no fear can fill. And as you breathe like this, gently, intentionally, you will discover how awareness speaks without volume, and how your heart recognizes truth long before the mind names it. And in this calm ground, clarity unfolds like rising morning light, revealing pathways once hidden behind hurry, showing that peace was never distant, only waiting. Now rest here, softly aware. When you look back on the moments you felt left behind, you may realize you never actually missed anything. There were days when you whispered prayers into the quiet, and it felt like nothing answered, like heaven had stepped away. But you were not late, you were being aligned. You were not forgotten, you were being prepared. You were not overlooked, you were being shaped for what could actually hold your heart without breaking it. There were times when you saw others move forward, when their breakthroughs came suddenly, when their prayers unfolded quickly, and it made you wonder if you misread the signs. You questioned whether you delayed something that was meant for you, whether you failed to respond, whether you made one wrong choice that redirected everything. My dear one, nothing that belongs to you has left. Nothing that was designed for your journey slipped through your hands. Even when you thought you missed it, you hadn't. You walked with emotional fatigue, the kind that settles heavy in your chest, like you have been trying to hold hope with tired arms. But hope is not held by effort, it rests gently when alignment arrives. Every unanswered prayer was not silence, it was orchestration behind the scenes, weaving timing, weaving intersections, weaving readiness into something that would become clear at the right moment. You were not late, you were being aligned. For a while, you believed that life was passing you by. But life was waiting for you to soften, to recover, to remember your worth. Some doors stayed closed not as punishment, but as protection. Some conversations paused not because you failed, but because clarity needed space to form. You were never outside the plan, you were inside preparation. There is a version of you emerging, steadier, wiser, less willing to settle for what cannot hold your heart well. And heaven waits for readiness. When what is meant for you arrives, you will know because peace will land before any explanation, and your spirit will recognize it without urgency. The delay was not absence, it was arrangement. And now, even in this moment, something inside you is loosening. The pressure you once carried begins to fall away, and you realize that what did not arrive earlier would have met a version of you still wounded, still questioning, still unsure of your voice. But now your voice is grounded. Now your heart is steadier. And soon you will see that timing was kindness, alignment was strategy, and waiting was the doorway into becoming. When it all arrives, you will look back and say, you were not late, you were being aligned. When a door stayed shut, you assumed it meant loss, but there are moments when heaven closes what would have harmed you before you had the strength to discern its depth. A delay is often protection wearing quiet clothes, and you were shielded more than you know. You thought it was rejection, yet it was redirection, and every pause held a hidden mercy that your heart will understand soon. Stay with me, because clarity always arrives later, and when it does, tenderness follows like light after a long night. There were connections that seemed perfect, opportunities that appeared golden, timing that felt undeniably aligned, yet something interrupted. You felt the sting of the door closing, but you were being saved from a heartbreak that would have taken months, maybe years, to recover from. The delay was not denial, it was timing reshaping itself until your inner readiness could meet outer blessing. Nothing was withheld, only rearranged. Sometimes you pray for something before it is safe for you to receive. Sometimes you long for a person before they know how to handle your depth. Sometimes the path you wanted was too narrow for the future unfolding through you. Delays become invisible guardians. Pauses become shelter until your emotional landscape softens enough to invite peace rather than urgency. A blocked door is not always closed. Sometimes it becomes a gate that opens later, when your voice has found steadiness and your heart has boundaries made of wisdom rather than fear. What is withheld now often returns differently, shaped by clarity, touched by timing, carried by peace. You will recognize it because there will be no internal shaking. There will be no frantic reaching. There will be quiet yes. Even now, you might feel a strange calm where old disappointment lived. That calm is evidence of alignment catching up with you, and soon you will look back and see how perfect the timing truly was. You will see the relationship that ending spared you from losing yourself inside. You will see the job that withheld itself preserved your creativity instead of draining it. You will see how the shift that paused your plans allowed the right door to appear. This is how hidden protection works. It guards without announcing itself. It shields without applause. It delays so you can grow. And when understanding arrives, you will exhale with relief, realizing that you were not forgotten or denied. You were held, redirected, and prepared, and the very things that paused will reveal their purpose gently, as peace introduces what is finally safe to receive. And when that understanding settles, your breath will deepen, and the fear of being late will dissolve. You will remember that nothing meaningful rushes. You will remember that blessings age like fruit, ripening, not spoiling. You will know you were guided, and every delayed moment becomes evidence that love was guarding you all along. And when your heart stands steady, grace will meet you without hesitation or strain. Truly seen. There is a particular way guidance arrives when it is truly meant for you, and Archangel Michael never begins with pressure. His voice does not rush you. It does not demand you move before you are steady. It begins with a feeling, often simple, often quiet, a soft widening across the heart space as though peace has stepped inside before meaning has caught up to it. You may notice your breath deepen without trying. You may feel the muscles around your ribs loosen, as if something unclenches on your behalf. When guidance is real, it speaks in calm sensations first and interpretation second. You sense relief before you understand why. You feel safe even when circumstances look uncertain. You sense alignment before evidence forms. There is no frantic energy, no forced decision, no heaviness disguised as urgency. Peace arrives, and clarity follows. It is not pressure, not confusion, not chaos. When it is truly a divine leading, the body softens. The shoulders lower. The heart rhythm steadies. And a quiet whisper breaks through the noise like a lantern cutting the dark. You do not have to chase it. You recognize it by the absence of strain. There are moments when you ask for direction, waiting for lightning, waiting for signs wrapped in fireworks, yet what meets you is stillness. That stillness is not silence, it is fullness without volume. Michael speaks through alignment of circumstances, through the right word spoken by someone passing by, through a name repeated unexpectedly, through a sentence that feels strangely familiar, as though you have heard it before in a dream. Often guidance comes as reassurance before instruction. A sense of, "You are held, keep walking," arrives before any detail. When you are anxious, the answers feel distant. When you breathe and soften, what is meant begins to surface. It has always worked this way. Not pressure, not confusion, not chaos. There are times a decision rests before you, and your mind runs in circles, weighing risk against comfort. But if you notice how your body responds rather than how fear reacts, you will hear guidance clearly. Peace touches the body first. Panic touches the thoughts first. Peace is grounded. Panic spirals. Peace is steady. Panic pushes. There may be chills down your arms, a sensation like warm air passing across your chest, or that gentle feeling behind the sternum where hope quietly rises. That is how protection speaks. That is how Michael nudges rather than commands. You are never coerced. You are invited. And sometimes clarity drops suddenly, like a line of truth arriving whole, without debate. A sentence forms, and you simply know. A face comes to mind, and forgiveness flows. A direction appears, and your breathing deepens because the body recognizes where it belongs before the mind names it. This is how divine communication unfolds. Peace first, then clarity. Safety first, then understanding. Softness first, then movement. And when your spirit learns to listen through that softness, you will always know what is real. Clarity rises like light on calm water, and you recognize it without effort, without urgency, without fear. Sometimes the signs arriving for you are not loud, not dramatic, not wrapped in lightning, but quiet repetitions carrying meaning beneath the surface. You look for big announcements, unmistakable gestures, undeniable guidance, yet what appears is subtle. It may come as numbers showing up in places that feel oddly precise, 1111, 777, 555, appearing on receipts, clocks, messages, or road signs, not to startle you, but to remind you that alignment is unfolding quietly. These numbers do not shout, they tap gently, saying, "Notice this moment, breathe here, you are not wandering." There are songs that return unexpectedly, lyrics you did not search for that suddenly replay, as though the words remember you even when you forget how to hope. Sometimes a line echoes in your mind at random times, holding an answer you did not realize you had been seeking. That is not coincidence. When it happens again, you'll notice it differently. What once felt like repetition will reveal itself as reassurance. Dreams become pathways when waking clarity struggles to form. You may see a place you've never visited, or someone you thought was gone, or a direction you hesitated to pursue. In dreams, the heart speaks first, without resistance, without logic interrupting. When you wake, you may not understand entirely, yet something inside you will be softer, lighter, steadier. That is guidance arriving in a language deeper than thought. Sometimes the sign is simply peace showing up where anxiety used to live. You may be sitting alone, doing nothing extraordinary, and suddenly your body feels unburdened. In that moment, you think nothing changed, yet something within you loosened, choosing surrender over striving. Peace itself is a sign. Stillness is direction. Calm is confirmation. When it happens again, you'll notice it differently, because you will recognize that peace does not visit without purpose. Guidance often repeats until you respond. A name that keeps returning. A place that keeps resurfacing. A message someone else mentions without knowing you already heard it twice. Gentle nudges build patterns. You will know them not because they overwhelm you, but because they keep meeting you from many angles, softly, consistently, kindly. There are moments when your body reacts before your mind understands. A chill across the arms, warmth in the center of your chest, tears arriving without sadness, a sudden clarity where confusion once lived. These are signs too. The body touches truth first. Many dismiss small signals because they expect loud arrivals, dramatic shifts, sudden manifestations. But heaven rarely shouts. Heaven repeats. Heaven reminds. Heaven waits until the heart notices. You are being guided through quiet persistence, not pressure. Soon, you will see that nothing was random, that the repeated lyric, the sudden peace, the dream that lingered, were all part of the same thread. And when the next subtle sign appears, you will not rush past it. You will pause. You will notice. You will recognize it because something inside you will whisper yes, long before the mind asks why. There will be moments in life where a door seems wide open, where an opportunity looks irresistible, where someone's attention feels like confirmation. But my dear one, discernment lives beneath excitement. Discernment waits for peace. When something comes toward you quickly, offering urgency rather than steadiness, your spirit has permission to pause. You are never required to rush into decisions that will shape your heart, your future, or your well-being. Clarity never demands rushing, and anything that tries to hurry you is rarely rooted in wisdom. You may have been taught that if you don't see something immediately, it will disappear, but what is meant will not collapse simply because you breathe before choosing. When peace is present, the decision feels grounded. Your body loosens rather than tightens. You exhale rather than brace. That is discernment speaking before logic forms. If a relationship opportunity appears, even if admiration feels flattering, pause and test by peace. Do they honor your boundaries? Do you feel safe being seen without performing? Do you sense clarity rather than guessing? When your heart is truly protected, your spirit is calm enough to move slowly. Healthy love does not pressure, and mutual readiness will reveal itself without intensity or urgency. If a financial offer appears, even if it looks promising, slow down. Ask yourself whether you feel constriction in your chest or steadiness in your breath. A wise yes comes with inner quiet, not adrenaline. A safe agreement will still be available after reflection. If someone insists, now or never, that urgency reveals more than their offer. You deserve time to think, time to read, time to feel, and time to pray. When major life decisions arrive, moving, accepting commitments, changing direction, stillness becomes your compass. Stand in silence for a moment. Notice what softens within you. Notice whether anxiety rises or peace expands. If you are panicked, wait. Panic chooses survival, peace chooses alignment. There will be opportunities that look perfect from the outside but feel unsteady internally. In those moments, trust sensation more than presentation. Your body knows when something is not safe, and when your chest tightens, when your breath shortens, when your thoughts accelerate, that is not clarity, that is pressure. Choose space instead. Peace does not force agreement. Peace allows reflection. Peace lets you sleep on it. Peace stays with you after the excitement fades. When something is truly aligned, the yes remains tomorrow, and the day after that, and still feels grounded, still feels gentle, still feels honoring. Nothing true dissolves under patience. Discernment is not suspicion, it is protection. Boundaries are not rejection, they are stewardship. And clarity never arrives through panic. If you wait until the rush fades, a truer signal emerges. You will recognize it because your breath deepens, your shoulders lower, and something inside whispers, "You are safe here." That whisper is more reliable than urgency ever could be. When the mind feels clouded and your emotions rise faster than clarity can form, you do not need answers immediately. You need space. Even 90 seconds of intentional slowing can shift you from reactivity into grounded direction. So pause now, if you can, and imagine time widening around you. Let your breath stretch just a little longer. Let your shoulders lower a fraction more. Let your heart settle into its rightful rhythm. Begin with a gentle inhale through the nose, slower than usual, letting the breath expand your ribcage instead of lifting your chest. Hold it for a moment, not tight, not forced, just long enough to notice the pause. Then exhale with a quiet release. Do this 2 more times, not counting, not measuring, simply allowing the breath to choose its length. Your nervous system understands when you slow down, and peace gathers where panic once scattered. Place your hand over the center of your chest, just enough pressure to feel warmth move beneath your palm. This is not symbolic, it is physiological. When you anchor awareness in that place, your heart and mind begin to communicate differently. You feel what is true before you name it, and emotional static dissolves into softer knowing. Then let a simple prayer form, even just these words, whispered or silent: show me what is safe, show me what is aligned, show me what is mine to hold. You do not need eloquence. Sincerity carries its own authority. Answers do not always appear in language. Sometimes they appear as a shift in breath, a loosening in the chest, or clarity rising without urgency. Stay here for the remainder of these 90 seconds. Feel your body steady. Feel your spine extend without rigidity. Notice how the inner noise quiets when you stop trying to control every outcome. What is real begins to surface only after struggle releases its grip. When confusion visits, do not reach outward first. Reach downward into awareness. Ask your breath what it knows. Ask your heart what it remembers. The truth does not hide. It waits until you are calm enough to hear without fear interpreting it. When the 90 seconds conclude, check the body. Is your jaw unclenched? Has the breath softened? Do the shoulders rest lower than before? If so, clarity has already begun. Grounded choice emerges from softness, never from emotional urgency. No decision worth making disappears because you took 90 seconds to breathe. No opportunity meant for you will collapse because you chose discernment over pressure. And when you practice this again, even briefly, you'll feel the difference immediately. Warmth replaces tension. The mind slows. Insight rises. This is how fog lifts, not by forcing answers, but by allowing stillness to reveal them. When you return to your life, carry this pause with you. Let it live in your routine, your mornings, your uncertain evenings. When emotional reactivity tries to lead, pause. When clarity seems distant, pause. When peace feels buried, pause. In 90 seconds, you return to yourself. Imagine something you once held close, something that slipped out of reach before you could fully understand why. It might have been a person, an opportunity, or a dream you set down because timing was tangled and your heart was tired. In that moment, it felt final. Silence arrived, and silence often feels like disappearance. Yet endings are not always endings. Sometimes they are pauses meant to allow wholeness to grow. There is a way life circles back softly, not dramatically, not demanding attention, but gently, like a door creaking open without announcement. Maybe the call comes unexpectedly. Maybe a message appears with no agenda, just softness. Or maybe the idea resurfaces with clarity instead of pressure. You do not chase it, it simply finds you again. Not to take something from you, but to reveal who you have become since it last left your hands. You might notice that peace arrives first, before any movement happens externally. You feel calm before anything is said. You breathe without bracing. You do not rehearse conversations, you do not role-play outcomes. You just sense a quiet readiness. When peace arrives first, you will know. If this return happens, it will not feel like the past repeating itself. It will feel like something that remembered you, waited for you, and now meets you without urgency. A softened version of what once felt heavy. A clearer version of what once felt confusing. You may find that forgiveness flows without forcing it, and clarity feels steady instead of emotional. Maybe the job that slipped away becomes available again under better leadership. Maybe the relationship that fractured reaches back with humility. Maybe the creative idea resurfaces with timing that no longer drains your energy. You won't have to grasp. You won't have to prove anything. The return will speak for itself. And if nothing returns in the same form, something new will often appear in its place, different yet familiar, like a door built exactly where an old one once stood. Life rarely leaves space empty, it transforms it. There may be a moment when someone says, "I wasn't ready then," and rather than pain, you feel peace. Not because everything is resolved instantly, but because understanding has replaced confusion. You will meet that moment as someone steadier than before. When what was lost reappears, it will not rush you. It will invite you. It will not stir panic. It will bring quiet certainty. You will not lean forward, you will stand upright. You will not fear repeating history, you will feel the difference in your body. And if the opportunity comes again, you will recognize it by warmth rather than urgency, by expanded breath rather than tense thought. You will not question whether it is trustworthy, you will simply know. This is how soft returns arrive, not loud, not demanding, not charged with fear, but clothed in peace, carrying an unspoken clarity. And when it happens, whether through restoration or a new beginning altogether, your heart will acknowledge it with stillness. Not because you chased it, but because it always knew how to find you again. What settles in your spirit today is not meant to transform you in an instant. Growth unfolds the way dawn replaces darkness, gradually, softly, without alarm. You are not meant to rush through understanding or force yourself into clarity. Instead, allow time to become a companion rather than something you measure against yourself. Days and weeks do the work you wished minutes could accomplish, because lasting alignment is gentle, not immediate. There will be mornings when the message feels vivid, when peace fills your body the moment you wake, and you feel carried. Then there will be mornings when doubt returns, not as failure, but as invitation. That is why integration is not a single moment, it is movement across time. A reflection day may call you. You might sit quietly, noticing how different your chest feels when you breathe slower, how your thoughts no longer chase direction but receive direction. Give yourself a rest window, an evening where you step away from proving anything, solving anything, fixing anything. Let your body remember softness. Let your heart remember that settling does not require answers. When you rest, wisdom arrives without being summoned. Revisit your journal, if you keep one. Not to critique what you wrote before, but to witness your unfolding. You may return to phrases that once felt uncertain and now feel true. You may realize that what seemed like confusion was actually transformation in progress. Reading your own words becomes evidence that alignment was happening even when you questioned it. You do not need rapid results. You need steady ones. Instant change rarely holds its weight, but gradual alignment roots deeply. The heart does not rush to mature. The mind does not instantly unlearn years of self-pressure. Time is not withholding from you, time is caring for you. Let your days become markers of subtle shifts. Notice how your reactions soften. Notice how you pause before speaking. Notice how your body calms before deciding. Small signs reveal big movement. Integration is not dramatic. It is consistent. If you choose to reflect once a week, do so gently. Ask, without force, what feels easier now. Maybe forgiveness no longer requires effort. Maybe your breath deepens sooner. Maybe your thoughts quiet themselves before fear gains volume. That is growth the Spirit makes visible. You will not lose what is meant for you because you took time to integrate. The path remains. Peace remains. Alignment remains. What is right for you waits with patience, not pressure. As days pass, understanding expands. As weeks unfold, clarity becomes familiar rather than fragile. You stop grasping and begin receiving. You stop rushing and begin trusting. Integration is love stretching itself over time. It is grace meeting you in increments. And one day, you will realize that the changes you prayed for did not arrive suddenly, they settled into you the way gentle rain softens the ground, quietly, steadily, beautifully. Before now, you carried tension in places you could not name. Your chest felt tight, your jaw stayed guarded, your thoughts circled familiar fears, and every unanswered moment felt like evidence that something had gone wrong. You woke some mornings already tired, already reaching for clarity before you even had the energy to breathe. You wondered whether you had missed something. Timing, opportunity, direction, and exhaustion settled like a fog that would not lift. You measured yourself against movement you could not see, and confusion whispered that you were behind. But slowly, something shifted. Not sudden, not dramatic, but steady. The body softened first, as it always does. Shoulders that once curved forward lifted and widened. Breath that once caught in the throat began traveling lower, deeper. You noticed warmth where tension used to reside. Renewal does not arrive like thunder, it emerges like sunlight after rain, quiet, persistent, unmistakable. Before, you reacted quickly, speaking from urgency, choosing from fear. You tried to fix what felt threatened, rushing to secure outcomes that were never meant to be forced. But after, you pause. You listen. You let silence say what words no longer need to hold. You realize that direction reveals itself without effort, and you no longer run toward what does not feel safe. Before, confusion was the loudest voice. After, clarity arrives like a soft internal yes. Not pressure, not confusion, not chaos, just agreement that forms without tension. Notice where your breath rests differently now. Notice how your body interprets truth before the mind assigns meaning. You breathe without bracing. You receive without reaching. The heart, once weary, now recognizes its own rhythm. Listen to how gently it moves. Renewal is not loud. It is spacious. Exhaustion becomes steadiness. Doubt becomes curiosity. Fear becomes openness. These transitions are not dramatic scenes. They are subtle transformations that accumulate across days and quiet choices. Before, you felt alone inside uncertainty. After, you feel guided. Not because circumstances have fully changed, but because you carry peace where panic once lived. You do not demand answers, you allow them. You do not rush guidance, you trust timing. Imagine yourself standing at a doorway. Before, you pushed and questioned why it would not open. After, you see that the door was waiting for you to arrive wholehearted, not fragmented. You are not trying to force alignment now, you are letting alignment reveal what has been prepared. There is a phrase your spirit keeps repeating: ease, clarity, belonging. These are not promises of perfection. They are markers of transformation. What used to feel heavy no longer weighs the same. What used to feel urgent no longer dictates your steps. And now, in this moment, take one quiet breath. Where does it land? Lower than before. Softer than before. Truer than before. This is the shift, before exhaustion, after renewal. Before confusion, after direction. Before striving, after peace. And though the future has not spoken its language fully, you move toward it as someone changed, anchored, aware. The emotional ground beneath you is different now, and you will continue to walk with a steadiness that once felt out of reach. You have crossed into clarity, not loudly, but completely. Before you go, allow this moment to settle around you like a warm cloak. You do not walk alone into what comes next. There is blessing resting over you, quiet, present, without conditions. You have been guided here not because you were lost, but because something inside you was ready to exhale, ready to soften its grip on what once felt heavy. May this peace stay near, not just for today, but in the gentle unfolding of the days ahead. May your mind rest in clarity, not confusion. May your heart be guarded, not by walls built from past wounds, but by discernment and wisdom that comes from peace. May every place that once felt fragile now feel strengthened. May every heaviness you once carried be lightened by knowing you were never asked to hold it alone. Release the pressure to figure everything out at once. You are allowed to grow slowly. You are allowed to receive gently. Guidance is not disappearing. Support is not fading. A path is still being shaped beneath your steps, even when you cannot yet see where it bends. May protection surround you, especially in the places that once carried fear. May your choices be led by peace, not urgency. May your voice rise without trembling. And may opportunities come to you in ways that affirm your worth, not challenge it. You are seen. You are remembered. You are covered. If you have felt something shift inside you, something soften, something ease, honor that. If your breath settles lower in your body than it used to, that is renewal. If your chest feels lighter, that is alignment finding space. If tears came without sadness, that is release. If clarity appeared without effort, that is spiritual reassurance. Walk supported now. Not because everything is solved, but because you no longer carry the journey alone. You walk with grace beside you. You walk with peace leading you. You walk with strength you may not have realized you gathered across this time of waiting. And as you continue, if this blessed you, share what softened inside you. Not because you must, but because your voice may be the encouragement someone needed without knowing how to ask. Let your reflection become a gentle offering, what lifted, what changed, what settled. If you desire continued prayer, write it openly. Others will see. Hearts will respond. You are not alone in your asking. You are not alone in your healing. You are not alone in your unfolding. If you wish to stay in this space of peace, stay connected. Not out of urgency, not out of fear, but because being surrounded by calm intention helps keep the heart steady. May blessing go before you. May peace rest upon you. May clarity lift within you. May renewal rise gently, day by day. And as you continue forward, may you remember, love walks with you, timing supports you, and what belongs to you has not passed you by. You are safe to hope again. You are safe to receive again. You are safe to walk supported.